Are you a technician class operator or experienced DXer unhappy with band conditions, wanting to chat with folks outside your local area? If so, the Radioddity RD-5R is an inexpensive way to obtain worldwide reach. The Radioddity RD-5R radio is a partnership between Baofeng and Radioddity. The earlier Baofeng DM5R, while meeting most of DMR standards, broadcast on both time slots simultaneously, so was problematic on repeaters. You'll want to avoid that model. The RD-5R fixed that problem and, for the cost, has free programming software to ease programming chores and covers the basic DMR functions. If you haven't seen it yet, or you're not too familiar with DMR, take a look at my Understanding DMR Programming video. Since we're off topic for a second, if you find this video helpful, please click on the thumbs up icon below the video and consider subscribing to the Gadget Talk channel. Click on the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. The RD-5R is available from Radioddity for under $70. It's a dual-band handheld radio that operates in both analog and DMR modes. That means it works like any of the other small handheld radios on 2 meters and 70 centimeters. That makes it great for FM repeater operations around town, as well as simplex with fellow hams within range. In the DMR mode, it can access DMR repeaters in your area, or like me, you can add a DMR hotspot to your home Wi-Fi system and access all the DMR talk groups without using a public or club repeater. When configuring the hotspot, you assign your hotspot a frequency appropriate for the band plan and program the radio to transmit to the hotspot instead of the repeater. In my case, when I'm located near my other radio equipment, the RD-5R transmits about 4 feet before the signal is accessed by the hotspot and sent on its way over to the internet. As you'll see in the unboxing, the RD-5R comes with a couple of accessories, and most notably, it comes with a programming cable. What's nice about this cable is that it doesn't have the circuit board attached to one end, allowing it to communicate between your PC and the radio. There are no special drivers required. Since its form factor is very similar to the ubiquitous Baofeng UV5R radios, most of those accessories will work with the RD-5R. Let's see what you get. So let's take a look at what's in the box that the Baofeng RD-5R came in. I'm going to cheat a little bit in that I've taken some of the plastic off the parts inside, so I have snooped inside already. But let's take a look and see what you're going to find in the box. First, you're going to find the radio. So let me set the box aside and we'll move through the pieces that we find. The first is the radio itself. You can see that it looks very, very much like the other small Baofengs, whether you've got the little 8-watt or one of the earlier versions of the UV5R. They look pretty much the same. It's going to be very familiar to you. Push to talk, a monitor button on the back side, the little LED for the flashlight on the top, a little connection here for a wrist strap, the on-off switch, and then of course the the dual pin connector for the programming cable, microphones, and some of the other typical Baofeng accessories. One of the other things that's a little bit different with this radio is the Baofeng battery. It's a larger battery. You can see that it's thicker. It slides in the same, and it's compatible with other Baofeng radios. It doesn't have a different voltage or anything, but it does have a higher capacity. So we've got the radio itself there, and as you can see, it's certainly less than the size of my hand. Now, in the bottom of the box is a separate box with the accessories, and so Here is an earplug with a mic similar to what you might find with a smartphone, except it has these dual plugs here that we were just talking about. So it's the earphone and mic fob there in line with this wire with the little push to talk button. The charger stand, which the battery can stand in it alone or it can stand in it with the radio itself. And then of course the wall wart style charger that goes with this. Now this adapter has the label on the back, and so you can see what the input and output in. The minus is the outside and the positive is the inside of this little plug right here. And one of the differences that you may notice is that it's a 10-volt charger, not like a 6-volt that you might find, which wouldn't give you enough voltage, or often common 12-volt chargers, which would be too much voltage, which could have the possibility of causing this to overheat. So one of the first things I'm going to do is get a little paint pen and mark this wall wart so that I know that it goes with this particular radio. The next thing that comes with the radio is really pretty important, especially with this radio, DMR radio, and that's the programming cable. New this time around is the programming cable doesn't require special drivers, and it doesn't require a special circuit board in the line to translate the information going and coming from the radio that you sometimes find. So this is, besides the twin connectors here, it's pretty much a straight USB cable, which will allow you to connect to your radio and then log in using the software to program the radio, which is freely downloadable from Radioddity. In this case, this is radio is marketed with Baofeng and Radioddity, and the correct Radioddity software is on the Radioddity website, not on the Baofeng website. So make sure you go to the right place to get your programming software, and we'll talk more about that a little later. Here's the wrist strap that we showed the little connector for, if you want to hang the radio from your wrist. This is a little belt clip on the back of the radio. There are a couple of screws here that you would take out to mount the belt clip. Since a belt clip isn't something everybody wants, it's kind of handy that they don't attach it. I know on my other Baofeng radios, I don't have the belt clip attached, and so it's here if it's something that it would be handy for you, and if it's not going to be in your way. So here's just a little foam wind cover for the microphone for the wired set, so that's kind of cool. And then last but not least is the Baofeng antenna that covers the frequency band that this little radio covers. Notice it's typical of the Baofeng radios in that the spike end is in the radio itself right here, and the socket end is in the antenna. So these antennas aren't universally replaceable between various brands of radios, and if you're looking for a different brand or third-party antenna for this radio, make sure that you check the compatibility, because that's really what the difference is. Some of the antennas have the plug in this part of the antenna, and the Baofeng has the socket in this part of the antenna. It's possible to program the radio manually using the radio's keypad and the up and down arrows. That method is very tedious though, so you'll want to use the programming software and your PC. Additionally, DMR programming is fairly complex, so using the radio's keypad to try to program the radio isn't recommended. In fact, programming a DMR radio is one of most hams' biggest challenges. Currently, you have to use the programming software that is freely available on the Radioddity website. It looks a lot like Chirp and other programming software, but you'll need the Radioddity software to program your RD-5R. The output file for your radio is called a code plug. As you work through the programming options, you can set a mix of both analog and DMR channels. There are a lot of YouTube videos on programming this little handheld, so I'm not going to duplicate them here. Again, though I do have an overview video that defines many of the basic DMR programming terms, I'll link to it at the end card of the video. Once programmed, the radio is easy to operate. In memory mode, you can scroll through the memory channels you programmed. The programming will determine whether the radio operates in an analog or digital mode. You can change from digital to analog channels without resetting anything on the radio. Just scroll through the channels using the up and down keys. As with many of the other Baofeng radios, such as the UV5R, this is a dual band radio, so it will transmit on both 2 meters and 70 centimeters. It has a scan feature that allows you to scan through your channels to monitor where the activity is. Speaking of channels, you can program up to 1024 channels into the radio. One last thing about DMR digital radio. You need to register and get an ID number to use on the DMR network. That ID number will identify you to the network and will show up as your call sign on other guys' radios. Go to radioid.net to sign up. You'll need to provide your FCC license PDF to verify your eligibility to use the ham bands. As you probably already know, you can download an official copy of your license from the FCC License Manager website. Don't change the PDF file's name. Submit the one with all the numbers in the title. Get that done while you're waiting for your radio to arrive in the mail. It may take a couple of days to get a response, although mine came through overnight. Overall, I've been pleased with this basic DMR radio. It's definitely worth the cost, especially for the guy or gal who wants to dip their toes into the DMR world. While it doesn't do APRS and GPS functions like some of the more expensive DMR radios do, it's a solid choice for the beginner or the ham who needs a semi-disposable DMR handheld. Again, if you found this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the Gadget Talk channel. And be sure to click the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching.